Welcome to the Bucket List Buster Travel Show. Your Bucket List Buster Travel Show helps you make your bucket list dreams come true. Host Karen Duncan spent decades running the travel business. She, along with other industry experts, share their knowledge, travel stories, and wisdom about how to travel, where to travel, and how to have a stress-free adventure. Tune in, give yourself permission to focus on yourself, create lifelong memories with families and friends, and finally learn to relax, rejuvenate, and reconnect. And here's the host of your show, Karen Duncan.
Aloha, buenos dias, ni hao, yahate, bula, guten tag, bonjour, jumbo, boa tarde, everything's Irie, and good afternoon. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Viva de Panama! Welcome everybody. This is Karen Duncan, your host of your Bucket List Buster, and today is August the 15th, and it is a holiday here in Panama. It is the foundation of Old Panama City, which means a lot of places are closed. It's a national holiday, but I am so happy to be here in my new home country. We are celebrating today. Today, the city of Panama was founded in 1519 by the Spanish conquistador Pedro Arias Dabira. The city was the starting point of expeditions that conquered the Inca Empire in Peru. It was a stopover point on one of the most important trade routes in the American continent, leading to the fairs of Nombre de Dios and Portobello, through which passed most of the gold and silver that Spain took from the Americas. Today, we are having Expat Week, and we are dancing through retirement with Ruth Rivera, one of my dear friends here in Panama. This lady is fantastic. When I tell you she is a bundle of energy, she likes to dance, and that's the one thing about being an expat. I think there's a commonality that I'm seeing is when you decide that you're going to leave your country, you have this energy about yourself that creates the ability or the mindset that you can do all things possible. Whatever it is that you've ever wanted to do in life, you do it, or at least you attempt to do it. And we'll talk about that. And Ruth is just fantastic. She's doing all kinds of stuff. She's starting some new things at this decade of her life. And young people, let me tell you, if you think you're too old to do some things, forget about it. You are just getting started. So when I hear folks talk about, oh, I'm too old to do this, I'm too old to do that, you got a lot of living to do if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, even 60s. You better get over it. You better get in some shape and start working out and start living your life. Start living your best life. This is going to be an exciting show. So we're going to talk about Panama. We're going to talk about being an expat, learning new ways of life. I've got a brand new company I'm going to talk about here in Panama. I love these guys, the German Wood Factory. We're going to talk about, of course, the weekly travel news. We're going to talk about some travel trends, what's going on, who's traveling with kids, and how that impacts your child's life, traveling with kids. And, I've always been mixed about that, but I want my kids to travel. My kids have traveled, don't get me wrong. But I believe that there should be two trips. There should be a trip for parents only, and then there should be a trip with the kids. plain and simple. And of course, we're going to have group trips for the week. We got some great specials going on. And then our friends over at the Wireless Traveler. So let's get started. And I do want to apologize up front. We've had some terrible storms here in Panama this week. It is our rainy season. And with that, sometimes comes some intermittent internet problems. And with that, what comes some problems with connectivity. And sometimes the sound is not perfect. So please bear with me. Don't get discouraged. Just fight through it and listen to everything we have to say today, because it's going to be fabulous, I promise. So who's listening out there? France, what's up with you guys today? Y'all are coming on strong, France. I'm really happy because that means I got people listening to me all the way from France, and it's significant. France was the number one listeners of the podcast last week. United States dropped to number 2, but that's okay. They're my buddies. That's my original home country. Canada, Panama, Brazil, New Caledonia, Czech Republic, Chile, Australia, and Germany. Like I said, Paris, France was the number one hot spot listening to Your Bucket List Buster this past year. This past week. Milton, Massachusetts, Mountain View, California, Elk Grove, California. What's up, Elk Grove? Edison, New Jersey, Colorado Springs, Colorado, Bozeman, Montana. I love you. Love Montana, absolutely. West Fargo, North Dakota, Orange, California, and then Panama City, Panama. So, thoughts for the week. Being an expat. What makes a person decide to leave? Lots of things motivates you. Loss of jobs, retirement, wanting to expand your retirement dollars, being disenchanted with the political environment in your country, wanting to do something new, wanting the adventure, wanting to live in the home country of your ancestors, wanting to learn a new language. All kinds of things motivate people to leave the country that they've lived in for all of their life or most of their life. And so you have to dig deep in deciding whether that's for you. Shows like House Hunters International have bridged the gap for people to feel a little more comfortable about making moves like this, because it just like people feel video games desensitize children and young people to violence. Shows like that also desensitize us to being fearful, to making steps out of that we may not have automatically made. And it helped me. I'm going to be honest. I was a House Hunters International fanatic. I watched it day in, day out. And part of it was because I love to travel. So I wanted to see where people were going. I wanted to see where people were living. I wanted to see the destination that they had chosen. And in doing so, I got my own episode. Yep, Mitchell and I were on House Hunters International. If you want to look it up and check us out, we were aired on May the 1st, 2019, Panama edition. You can find us if you Google us. I think YouTube has it and some other, and it just recently re-aired, a rerun just re-aired, and we just got some folks that told us all about it. So it was really fun being able to do that. That was on my bucket list. That was another thing on my bucket list. But it did help me feel like this was something we could do. So, learning new ways of life as an expat is huge. And Ruth and I will talk about that today. Because some people move to a destination and they want it to be exactly like it was in the United States. Well, what's the point of moving? If you're gonna live like you lived in the States, then stay in the States. That's not why you move to a new destination. And you got to be open to new experiences. Things are different here. Things are different in Mexico. Things are different in Europe. That's part of the fun of being in a new place. And you have to be open to those new experiences. You know, I've done some things here that I've never done before. And I'll continue to do things that I've never done before, hopefully, as long as I'm capable of doing that. I don't want to do some of the same things that I've done before. You know, that's one of the reasons I've left. And it's as simple as things like getting up in the morning, watching the news. That's what we used to do. And let me tell you, we were just in the States for 25 days. Of course, we got up and we watched the news because that's what we did when we lived in the States before. And it was accessible. Here, we don't make the news that accessible to ourselves. And it was hard at first, but now we love it. We realized my blood pressure went up tremendously when I went back to the States. And I went through that process of channel surfing and looking at the news and being inundated with all the different stories and all the stuff that was going on there. Here, as soon as I got back, blood pressure went back down. I don't want to wake up and go through that same process every day. I just don't want to do it. Embracing a new culture, embracing my fellow Panamanians. I love my new country. I love the people of Panama. You know, not everybody's nice, but guess what? Not everybody's nice in the United States. But I've not really had a bad experience with people in Panama. You know, their traditions and the way they do things sometimes are different, and that's up to me to learn how they do things. It's not for me to try to get them to do things my way. I live in their country. People in the United States are always moaning and groaning and bitching and complaining about how they want immigrants to do things the American way. Well, guess what, folks? Even if you're visiting a country on vacation, you can't expect people to do things your way. So get over it. But embrace the new culture, embrace the new foods. Going to the fondas here and eating a local meal is fabulous. Yeah, I miss some of my foods. I'm gonna be honest. If I could find a way to ship me some collard greens and some mustard greens and some stuff like that, I know that sounds very ethnic, but those are the foods that I grew up on, and I miss those. I miss that, and it's hard. I can't get those here, so I'm having to overcome and adapt. Giving up old habits, like I was saying, with the news and that type of thing. And then learning the language. I'm going to admit, I've been very remiss in learning the language. I've been here a little over a year. I'm not nearly as far ahead in learning Spanish as I should be, because we live in an environment where we don't have to speak the language much every day. And that's a downside. I'm determined that I will not go into my second year not learning Spanish like I need to learn Spanish. So you have to learn to speak the language. I was telling my husband, if something were to happen, we would be in a world of hurt because we wouldn't know what was going on because we don't understand the news here. Because we've put ourselves in a bubble and really confined ourselves to our little safe little community here in Panama. But we love where we are, and that's what you have to do, is embrace where you are when you've decided to step out on faith, basically, and move to a new country. Doing the things that you dreamed of. I'm doing things that I've always wanted to do in life. I am, and I'm having the best time of my life. I'm living my best life right now as an expat, and you can do that too. Ruth is doing it, and we're going to talk about that when we have her on the show a little bit later. But I'm going to take a quick break. I love you guys. This is Karen Duncan, your Bucket List Buster, and we are celebrating dancing through retirement as an expat. This is Expat Week on your Bucket List Buster. I'll see you in a minute.